Hey everybody, Go 7, King of the Penguins here, with a replay analysis of a tournament match. This was played in Discord Cup number 10 in the second round between Reimer and Mr. Ko on the map Stolen Seconds. Now, Reimer, who is rated in the 1400s, very high up there, he's in the top left over here. He's playing as Lash with the Black Hole Country and is one of the strongest Fog players out there, even taking a run at my throne in the past. He is a Lash specialist, picking her any chance he gets, even if it means he's going to be playing down in the tier level. He's also known for methodical play that focuses around death balls and leveraging Lash's passive to win early engagements. Some big staples of his play to look out for are some very early artillery, which we're probably going to see in these key forests, such as this one and this one over here, and an early Neotank tech-up. His greatest weakness as a player has been his map control and presence in the past, so it will be very interesting to see if and how he's adapted since last I saw him play. His opponent, Mr. Ko, is rated in the 1000s and is playing as Kindle with the Cobalt Ice Country, the best of them all. Now, 1000s to 1400s is a pretty large gap, but is also very misleading because Mr. Ko is much more focused on the private match scene, so his ELO rating is not necessarily representative of his skill level. But since he isn't in Global League so much, I don't actually know that much about his playstyle or his weaknesses. If I was to guess, based purely on his inaccurate rating, I would say he's going to play very tank heavy with fast battle copters. Now on this map, that can end up very quickly handing you an early loss because people often send the copters straight ahead to the middle, which is exactly where the anti-airs will head from these two top bases. So that can get real bad real fast. Hopefully, we won't see something like that, and we'll get to see how Mr. Ko plays in a more drawn-out match. Now, these two players have some history, so they might have some matchup knowledge about each other that will impact how they play. I'll see if I can spot any reads that either of them might be doing, and I'll try and point that out. The map Stolen Seconds is actually the very first map I ever played in Advance Wars by Web, as well as the map I lost for the very first time on in Advance Wars by Web. And I was against a Lash too, so this game is very personal to me. Anyway, the map has some key features to look out for in the game. There's these two peninsula cities, which are incredibly contested, very hard to take once they've already been captured, because an infantry from the one base side is always walking by, and there's also the vehicles from these two bases that are always going to be in range. So there's always something around to interrupt the capture. The two cities in the middle have a same kind of thing going on because, I mean, they're in the middle, they're between these two HQs, and there's these forests around where artillery can very safely set up in and then just kind of stare at them and make sure nothing captures them. And then on the top here and the bottom, we have these little moat cities, which can be kind of difficult to take because vehicles have a hard time getting to them, of course, because of the moats. But because they're much more out of the way, it's much less likely that there's going to be something around to contest it. So you can... That is like a much more feasible capture goal than some of these other contested cities. But not nearly as easy to get as these two mountain cities. The mountain here with these two the city here with these two mountains. This is usually the first city to fall when any amount of pressure is put on it. Either the one base side will have a little buildup of infantry and then overwhelm the defenders, or the two base side will get a breather from having to fight in the middle and just send some vehicles over and overwhelm defenders. But those are the cities that will usually flip first, depending on who's winning. And the comm towers are insanely safe on this map. So most game plans are going to focus on securing or denying one of these contested cities and then winning engagements off of that and pressuring off of that and getting an economic advantage. And that's how they'll win, especially if they get a unit count advantage and start flooding tanks and copters into this relatively narrow middle. Since once you are behind in unit count and economy, it hurts a lot to trade an anti-air for a copter, since you're only going to be getting a net 1,000 in damage, but you're also still going to be down in unit count because of that, unless you are also able to build a copter, which is very difficult to do when you're down in economy. So we'll see if that's how this develops, but we'll jump into the game right now. All right, day one. Probably going to see some very common openings here. Indeed, Reimer goes for the double infantry. I imagine Mr. Ko is going to do the same thing here. Infantry goes towards the neutral base, and building the 2 infantry. This is, of course, the classic and best opening on pretty much any map, but especially this one. But it'll be more interesting to see how they progress in the capture game. There's actually quite a few backwards captures. This one's kind of backwards too. That can be kind of awkward to time when you want to take them. Because if you go too early or too late, you're either going to end up with an economic disadvantage or a numerical one when the center fight happens around these 2 cities here. I think the standard, if I remember correctly, is to send your 4th infantry from over here back for this one, and then the 2nd infantry from your 1 base side goes down here with the 1st one going up here. You don't have to do that though. There are other options depending on what you want to do for your timing, either for a specific vehicle or for how many infantry you want in the middle. Like you can delay the city a really long time if you want, just to have 1 extra infantry there that can start the capture on this property while your other ones are fighting. You can also not go for this property right away and instead go straight for the airport to get a fast transport copter, which, while a sharper game plan, much more risky, easier for your opponent to interrupt, it's probably less risky in a tournament setting where people are more likely to play it safe. Quick, very early intermission here. I'm actually going to show you what I was talking about with the transport copter opening, because I don't think that's something that many people really look for, and it's one of those things that you can do in Fog that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do in Standard, because it takes a little while before someone might realize how your capture game is different based on what you've been doing in the back 40. So I'm going to have Reimer go for the fast transport copter opening, and I'll have Mr. Ko go for just like a standard tank opening. So here we go. This is using the Move Planner extension, which is incredibly helpful. So Mr. Ko is just going to go up there while Reimer went for the airport first. Let's start the capture. There we go. And the big thing that they might notice early on is that this capture is going to be the earliest thing they'll see, is going to be a turn delayed. Now, the only time they'll ever see that is if they're going for the recon first opening, which not many people will do, because as you'll see with this tank first opening, it actually stops. It actually covers the recon first from harassing the city. So not many people will go for the recon first, because it really sucks to go for like your early recon and then just have it immediately die and just start you off, behind. So next turn, Reimer is going to get their transport copter. Well, Echo gets... we get the tank back here. Gets the tank. There we go. Gets the tank there. Goes for this right away. You want to get that right away because of how contested it is, and then go up here because there's the three properties. Something very similar. Walk down out here. Start this capture. Set this capture up because you have a nice chain here. While this one goes to this one next. Follow that up. Copter. Go for this capture. Go over there. That's the delay that they might see. Oops. And this guy start this guy first. And the tank sits on the HQ. And now if a recon came in and hit here, the tank would be able to come up and get revenge. Which is very good. It's kind of like practice for my live play games. You can definitely definitely use the help when it comes to time management. This one goes like that, yeah. The main point with the tank opening is to try and win a brawl in the middle, so you focus most of your infantry heading over there. But the transport copter opening is not focused on that. It's focused on the edges. And it just tries to deny the center cities. So it's not going to have the same thing kind of going on. It gets an artillery first. The artillery is going to go sit in this forest so it can deny that city, and then it'll use some infantry to try to deny this city with the mech backup, which we'll see. Just finish these captures. This tank would probably go sit in this forest. Start that capture. That one might be a little contentious. It's possible that you'd like go up here and then go for this. Kind of depends on the player and how they're feeling. It's definitely kind of slow to go for this one, but also depends on what kind of timings they might want to do with their infantry. I sent this guy to the wrong place. He doesn't go into this. I was like, that looks a little off. Now we're going to get tank here, get tank here. Or not tank, infantry there. I know what my units are, you know. Here's these captures. I forgot to mention, but he gets boosted, and then that's immediately turn faster for that capture. And then down here, you drop this guy off right here, which is a lot faster to get this city. There's a thing over here. So you can get this city, and send you over here. Get up on this mountain so you can start contesting the side there. Send him over there. Send him over there with that. And build. I'll build the mech this turn. Go infantry. I'm gonna go tank this turn. I'm saying I can get battle copter. The money might have messed up a tiny bit. I'll just get a tank like I would normally. I think. I don't know. It's been a long time before I've done anything like this. Doesn't super matter. This is just a little demonstration over here. Start setting up to deny that. Oh, you move here so you can see the two properties. You move here to stop the opponent from stepping on. That's right. These guys up. This capture. This is the guy that's going to capture the comm tower. Go up here, finish this capture, and then buy probably battle copter. Infantry. Try and get as much pressure going on over there. You can also have more tanks. Bust out some artillery. It's all groovy. Because this guy went up here earlier, he actually gets to be the one that captures the comm tower, and you get a little acceleration with this guy, which is nice because from here you can actually interrupt this. is very nice. It's just a different opening than you usually see, but has a lot of its own charms and merits. Make a little wall. The tank defending them. Yeah, then I think this is the battlecopter mech. Recon infantry. I think that's what the turn is. You can also do double infantry and save money for more battlecopters to come. It's not a huge deal. It's just kind of buys that you can do. And then I'll just show you here. Move over there. Hey, there we go. Start that cap. Start heading towards the middle. Finish this capture. Finish this capture. It'd be amazing if someone actually, move back here. Start this capture. And you might be like, why would they start that capture when they see the infantry here? And that's because they've got all these vehicles. Excuse me. What they're trying to sucker out is an opponent that went like recon first and got just for scouting and got scared away from this. And so you're going to have more tanks. And then this capture, they kind of like don't expect to actually get it, but it will tell them if there's an artillery. And then everything else is just tanks getting ready. The battlecopter, and then if there's an artillery here, they'll reposition next turn to strike at it using the battlecopter and the tanks for like a quick dive and then retreat. And this would be a double take. Like so. And then we'll see that at this point the transport copter is going to be, oh, there we go, up on economy once these properties are interrupted. And it's going to be really up in economy because of this over here. Because you don't even go here. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how you want to place your infantry over here. You'd love to get a two side thing, but you also don't want to get seen by this infantry. So I think you probably just stay like this. And the recon down here. You might have set the first infantry down to be a block over here. So we hit this down to 3. Is this? Yeah, let's see this. Okay. I want to cheat. It's like a 6/6 trade or something. Okay. And then you drop off the mech right here, and we'll put the tank in the city. This is a very annoying wall to try and break. And then these infantry, this, in position to start trying to take this city. Like so. And then you'd go anti-air with a tank, infantry. And then you would just sit here with these guys. And then Mr. Ko would be like, oh my gosh, there's an artillery up here. And then wouldn't have vision of it in this case. So they'd probably start positioning their direct vehicles around here to dive it. Or they would try and smash into this wall, which wouldn't go that great for them because the mech does help a lot. And they can't break the transport copter because the battlecopter doesn't quite reach. And then they also can't break the forest infantry, so they actually cannot get through here, and the mech can counter. So it'll just be a bunch of like infantry trades. Anyway, this is like a kind of standard position that would pop up in the transport copter opening versus like a tank opening, where there's a stronger vehicle presence in the middle, so the tank player can actually try and capture these middle properties, while the transport copter player is going to just focus on denying these, or capturing and denying the side properties. And then front switches and all the like come into play. But you can see that the weakness the Transport Copter has early on is going to be that if they went for the fast recon, they can sniff it out, and they'd also know that this would be a safe interrupt. Anyway, just a little fun intermission there. Back to the game. Moving on to day 2 here. Let's see if Reimer goes for that early Transfer Copter that I made a little intermission video for and everything. The answer is no. Okay. That's very understandable. The Transport Copter can feel really risky because of that early recon pressure that some people go for. So, I get it. Just going for the boring standard plays and see if Mr. Ko goes for it. Go for your capture there. Go for that capture. No. Okay, so they both turn down the fast Transport Copter opening, which is fine. The more vehicle centered openings are definitely more flexible, and you can get those fast aggressions and those early brawls in the middle. There's also the early artillery opening that I tend to favor on this map, going for these forests right here in the middle to get some really good presence and dominate any brawl that might happen, any tank on tank engagements. If there's a recon, or not a recon, but an artillery in this forest, tank gets your tank, and then the artillery just kills you. So we'll see if someone goes for that. That would be usually my go-to. Transport Copter is more if you're really feeling it, All right, let's see Reimer's day 3 here. Finish the captures, start the base capture, go for that capture, go up there. All right, so he didn't go for the recon first opener, which is also very understandable because it kind of bets on your opponent not going for the tank first. The recon first gets in range of contesting this property, but the tank first opener defends that property. So it's the recon first is kind of not that great, which is also why the Transport Copter opening, going back to that, I just can't seem to drop it, is pretty good because its counter isn't, it gets its counter is harder countered by a more common build. And let's see what Mr. Ko does. Does he go for, so far, just super standard. This is the 4th infantry, so it'll probably be the one that goes back here. All of this looks very standard. This guy goes over here to get this capture chain. This guy captures this. This guy goes back here. This guy goes up here from the middle. It's all looking groovy. Both of them have skipped the Transport Copter timing and the recon timing. So the only two, well, I guess there's 3. The 2 main timings after that is going to be tank first or artillery first, and then you could also do battle copter first, but that would be pretty delayed, and battle copter first will run into problems with the anti-air come out pretty early because of this distance. I guess you could also go anti-air first. that would be the weirdest of them all. All right, Reimer. Let's see your day 4. Finish these captures. Start going for this one right away. That's the smart move. Oftentimes, first time you play the map, you go down here because they look closer, but it's the same distance turn-wise. And then if you neglect this one and they actually get it, it's really bad. You'll just be down a property the whole game. Going over here first rather than going down here to go for these. So going for this property right away. That's fine. Oh, heading back with the 3rd infantry. Okay, that's a big deal. Basically, that means that either this infantry is going to capture this property, which delays these properties and all the presence on this side, or it's just going to walk past anyway and neglect any economic advantage you get from going for this one earlier. And more importantly, this means that there's going to be less, because this slows down the captures over here, there's going to be less infantry in the middle, which is a big deal. If Reimer is going, well, we can see now if Reimer goes for an artillery's turn. No. So Reimer is going for tank first, and if you're going tank first, you need as many infantry as you can in the middle here, because if they go artillery first, they'll have an artillery in this forest, which is very powerful. And you need to have the infantry around to clear the other infantry blockers and to reveal it, so you can strike it with your initial tank. If they, well, you don't go into this forest if you go artillery first, because you don't need all those turns to get there. It only takes 2 turns, and it's also a very passive position. It only denies this, where this covers this one and covers a lot in the middle. It's a very active artillery position to be in one of these forests. I would have expected Reimer to go artillery first and go for this forest. It's very much up his avenue of play, but I guess he's going to mix it up. He's probably going to go, well, he's not going to have enough infantry in the center here, so he's going to go tank first, bring it down, and then it can't really do anything, I guess. With then a later artillery that will just sit in this forest probably and deny this city. Maybe the tank will be used to just protect this artillery. Even then, you go. I don't understand. I don't know. This is a weird play. I would not recommend this timing unless Reimer is going to start this capture, and then that money gives him a faster medium tank or something, and in that case, I guess that could work. I don't know if that lines up correctly. I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's a rough start though, because it means he's gonna have, you'll probably see there's gonna be a lot fewer infantry in the middle for Reimer than Mr. Ko, judging on these openings here. Okay, so day 4. Yep. And Mr. Koa goes up here while Reimer went over here. Okay. So Reimer's going a little bit more off book than Mr. Ko is. See, this one captures here, go up there, go over here. There's one hit back. Yep. If this one had gone forward, then Mr. Ko would super be overwhelming Reimer with in the middle with infantry. Oh, and there's the artillery first. Okay. 3 infantry. So this guy's gonna go here, and then maybe here, and then here. I don't know. It takes 3 turns to get into this forest, but that's where you go with the artillery first, and then tank first doesn't even get in range in time to stop this. So it's really unless they want recon first, I guess recon first and try to rush this area. That'd be interesting, but it would also still lose the tank first, so I don't think anyone would do that. But we'll see what happens here in these coming turns. This is a very, I'll see if Reimer had a plan with this opening or if this was just a little mistake. Because Mr. Ko's playing very standard so far, and the thing about standard play is that it beats non-standard play that isn't optimized, and a lot of non-standard play is just not optimized, so it just gets off on a really slow foot, a really weak stance, I guess. I don't know, against the standard play. So we might We might see that in action. Okay, Reimer, let's see what you've got in store for us for day 5. Finishing that capture, going for that. Makes sense, going for that. I mean, that's fine. It still reaches this in the same amount of turns. I guess a little scared of like a really aggressive recon or something. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Going for that one, of course. If Reimer had gone straight for the comm tower, my mind would have been like blown. I'd have no idea what Reimer's plan would be. Well, like, why would you need the comm tower so early? Oh, okay. So Reimer just walks by here. So there isn't like some economic timing then where you need these 3 captures that fast to get something. So maybe this is just a little mistake. We'll see if it's how it plays out. But there's our tank. Is this tank slower? No, that was the tank. That was the first possible tank. Oh, interesting. So I guess player 2's recon first. I'd have to check back to see if player 2 could afford it. I think they could. Would actually be able to interrupt here because player 1's tank first is a turn too slow, while player 2's tank first does get in position in time, as you can see by this money. That's very interesting to note. Player 2 might have a better recon opener on this map than player 1. All right, Mr. Co, what you got? We got airport. There's the standard little order here. Yep, heading towards the middle. It's very nice. Start that cap, start that cap. Up here to get these captures. I think both up here. I think that's still fine. Still pretty standard. All right, day 6. Reimer, what you got? What you got? Start. Finish those caps. For this one. And now both of these guys are heading down here. I think they're just a little bit slower than Mr. Co's. If Mr. Co caught on to this, he could have probably put a lot of pressure over here. I don't think he has a way of knowing, but the tank comes down in the middle. Does he build a second tank? No, he builds an artillery. Okay, well, this tank isn't doing much then. It's probably just going to go sit in this forest and provide some vision. And then this artillery is going to head over to this forest. Since it's not double tank, it's like kind of a mirrored opening, except going tank first into artillery is worse than going artillery into tank first. Maybe he's just really worried about recons interrupting this kind of thing. I don't know. It seems dubious to me, but if the goal is to put the artillery in this forest, then it doesn't really matter. All right, Mr. Co. Day 6. Finishes capture, finishes capture. Interesting. Okay. Well, Mr. Co is feeling a little scared with the artillery, but this is still in one turn to get into this forest, so that's fine. Note that even against tank first, you can put this artillery really far forward, and you're totally fine. The tank can't reach. So you could be here just in case they had like a rush to these cities or something, and then you'd be able to fire once you get vision on the following turn. Finish these captures. Yep, going for that one. There we go. Looking super standard. It's got the money for a copter. So this... Okay, so... Artillery copter is very vulnerable to anti-air. So this might be a read that Mr. Co is doing, or making, against Reimer, that Reimer won't build an early anti-air. Maybe Reimer's got like a thing where they on this map or in matches against Mr. Co, they haven't built anti-air until they've seen a copter. So this copter is going to get like more guaranteed value. I guess we'll see how it plays out. Okay, Reimer, day 7. Let's see this. Captures. Very much the thing to do, of course. Yeah, so this is going to mean that Reimer has a delayed double mountain city. Or 2 mountain city. Which is kind of risky because this is the most vulnerable property that you have. I don't think Mr. Co is going to pick up on that, so Mr. Co probably wouldn't be going for this. So it's probably going to be fine for Reimer. And okay, so there is one upside to Reimer going for this earlier, and is that this infantry will get back earlier. So if Reimer delays the fight long enough, he will be the one that's up in infantry. Wow, maybe that's the master plan. Into the forest. Pretty classic. This guy's lined up to hop in here. This guy's walking towards... Oh, my. Okay, so Reimer's walking back here to capture this. And then I guess this guy's going to go over here, and this guy's going to go down here to get the lake city faster without being delayed with the city. But this infantry usually walks up here, so it can contest this city or even try and capture it. So this means that an infantry from the top isn't going to be in the fight, and an infantry from the bottom isn't going to be in the fight. So I think Mr. Co is going to outnumber Reimer in the middle by at least 2 infantry, maybe even more because these guys are also slowed down. So whatever Reimer does, he needs to not try and capture one of these cities, because if he does, he's just going to lose everything in the middle. Fingers crossed. Yep, okay. Going down, going for the low city. I guess wanted to move a little less, that's fine. Another tank. Okay, so tank, artillery. I think that's fine. I don't know if you actually want to get this tank. I don't know what this tank is going to do. I guess it's just going to be protecting this artillery. You might as well get either another artillery or just bank up for a heavier vehicle or something. Because if you don't have the infantry to fight with your vehicles in the middle, you'll just lose. You can't just have vehicles fighting against a combined force of vehicles and infantry. They'll get in your way, they'll trap you, they'll tickle you down with luck rolls. It just doesn't work out. So I don't know. It seems like maybe Reimer doesn't quite have an overall game plan in mind here. They might be thinking more on just getting more map presence and map control, and that's why they decided to go back here so that they have 3 infantry faster over here, and it won't be as easy to disrupt their capture game. Maybe that's what they're thinking with this. In which case, that's really good. And if they don't try and capture these cities, even having fewer infantry is fine if all you're trying to do is deny it. So if that's what happens, then Reimer's doing good. But this tank buy really worries me that that's not what's on their mind, that they will try and actually take one of these cities in a fight. In which case, that will probably end really poorly. Mr. Co with the more standard build, yep. Gets this one right away. He's already capping this one. Reimer's hasn't even reached the midpoint to get to that property yet. Yep, let's see. Comes back with this one. Starts the comm tower. Look at all these infantry. Look at this. Look at all of these infantry in the middle for Mr. Co. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Already in position to start a fight here. How many does Reimer have? 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Mr. Ko is up 2 infantry. That's huge. That's huge. 3 to 5 is a very large disparity. That's larger than the first strike disparity. If you have a force that is 2/3 the size of another, as long as you get all the first strikes, you'll come out even or ahead. And 3/5 is less than 2/3? Question mark? I believe. So that means that these 5 infantry can get hit by these 3 and then still win the engagement. That's really deadly. Plus they have an artillery. Having more infantry and an artillery is very much game winning. Mr. Ko did not go for another copter, so this is just a single copter play. Very interesting. Went for a backwards tank too. So I guess Mr. Ko is expecting the fighting to take place around this artillery. So he didn't want to build the tank here because that would be if he's trying to fight more around here. Trying to dive against an opponent's artillery. Which I guess you pretty much never do if you build your own. So far it looks from this that Mr. Ko is going to win the middle very easily. And if Reimer puts up any resistance, that's just going to be units tossed into the void. And then Mr. Ko is also ahead on the, I guess, the aggressive side of going towards the corner properties. But what Reimer has going for him is that he's ahead on getting this lake city. So it's possible. I know Reimer can't quite make it to this lake city in time, I think, to actually contest it. Oof. Yeah, so far I'm giving all the edges to Mr. Ko. I think the opening has been much stronger for him. But the opening isn't everything, and we'll see how engagements go and how the players adapt to the ongoing situation. And I think Reimer, I almost called him Mr. Reimer, which is fine. I think Reimer probably has a leg up in that regard, given how high he's gotten in the Fog Global League. Anyway, we'll be moving on to day 8. Reimer's turn. Day 8. Only 1 capture to finish, but 3 to start over here, which will put him ahead of Mr. Ko, which is very good to know. This must have been a scouts to the city. Huge sigh of relief that it's not being captured because he only has this tank to try and interrupt it, which he would probably have to do because this guy's going in position to lock it down, and it would suck to be against Kindle and have your tank have to strike an infantry on a city. That's just give away a tank. I mean, maybe that wouldn't even be worth it. I don't know. But huge sigh of relief for Reimer there. Start that capture. Tank, the artillery's in position, so the city is not going to get captured. I guess we'll see if Mr. Ko's got the spidey senses about that, or if he goes for the take an infantry hit to know that there's an artillery there kind of thing. Infantry recon. Okay. That's saving 10,000. Okay, so that means that Reimer is going to buy a Neo tank next turn. But that does mean that he's also going to be really weak in this middle fight. These units have no support. The Neo tank doesn't even get built till next turn, and then it has to travel. And this copter is going to be completely uncontested. This is a very risky play. Very much. It might be a read from Reimer onto Mr. Ko. Maybe Reimer's Mr. Ko has been very passive in our past games, so I'm expecting that I can get away with this fast tech up with a very minimal army. Maybe. I actually kind of wish. Nah, it doesn't. Skipping the tank by last turn doesn't quite get Reimer to a Neotank this turn. Could have skipped both tank buys though. That would have been nice. Like, these tanks are useless for now. You might as well have them later. So you could have gone artillery and a Neotank this turn without having these two tanks. I think that'd be good. That'd be a cool build. You just have to avoid. I mean, it would be kind of. This is almost like the perfect counter to that build: a battlecopter and an artillery. But as long as you'd avoid getting shot by the artillery, it would work out pretty well, I think. And avoid getting hit from a city by the battlecopter. Maybe Mr. Ko saw that coming. I don't know. All right, Mr. Ko, what are you doing? Do you have the Spidey senses? Finish your captures. You do not have the Spidey senses. That's okay. You have a lot more infantry in the area. You can afford to take the hit. Going for that city. For that. Yep. Check that city out. And gets into position. Starts this capture. This is the capture that you usually want to start when you have the bigger force in the area, because it's more likely to start a brawl. Just inches forward a tiny bit. Doesn't even go here. Probably want to go here so you can get a full wraparound if they capture the city from you. But I guess doesn't want them to be easy to spot or something. That's in range. It wouldn't be in range of the copter, maybe. I don't know. It's a little iffy. Recon. Okay, I don't like this buy. I guess you're going to go recon tank. But the recon going up here is very risky, because usually what it wants to do is strike from this forest onto an infantry that's sitting on this city, and then there's also an infantry like on this mountain. So what happens is you strike the infantry, they build, and then on their turn, they keep the infantry here, it heals up a tiny bit, and then this infantry comes down here. And then your recon's trapped. It can't actually move because it only has those two tiles to move from there. And then they build a tank on that same turn, and then it can come over and kill your recon. And the compensation that you have is like a single infantry for your recon from your one base side. That's not good. So like when you actually want to harass like that, you actually want to attack from this tile, which is also kind of risky because it's road, and it's very easy for them to have a tank that's already been built to come over and to hit. So you're kind of like, just don't do that unless you've got a really strong read on where their vehicle placement is over here, in which case you can attack from the road. But don't attack from the forest unless you have a lot of supporting infantry, which it looks like Mr. Ko has two, one of which is going to be up here. So that's not a lot of supporting infantry. Don't do that. Maybe it's going towards the middle. I don't think so. I think it's probably better to just save your money. Yeah, there's the double tank. Oh well. Alright, copter being very sneaky. Very sneaky. Maybe the copter doesn't actually want to fight, because this is kind of going down like this. Maybe the copter doesn't want to fight in the middle because it's scared of anti-air. Maybe it's coming down here to try and contest this lake, or the moat city. That'd be interesting. Maybe that was the plan. Alright, day 9. Let's see here. Capture, of course. All those captures. Alright. Ooh, oh, no. Well, I mean, it's good in that this is the order that you'd want to attack. Tank and then infantry, and then he's going to put an infantry on here and start the capture and firing on this guy to interrupt. This is terrible, though. Reimer just base skipped not base skipped, but like big buy skipped. Saved a bunch, banked a bunch of money to get a Neotank this turn, so there's going to be no reinforcements for this. And Reimer's got such a reduced infantry count in this area, because like this guy went back here, that guy went back too early, so everything over here got delayed. This is just, don't try and take the city. This is against artillery first, against Yes, even I imagine recon first against tank first against battlecopter first. This is just a really bad situation to be put in, especially against Kindle. Like, this is just going to be a free, not free. I guess you do get an infantry kill out of it, but a really bad trade. I mean, there's no. I think it's even better to not even put this guy on here and just try and keep him around. If Reimer realized the mistake. Fire, that's good. Like, this is good. Defending the artillery, worried about a dive. These guys are dead. This guy can't. This tank cannot support this. 2 tanks against all of the buys that your opponent's been doing. 2 tanks, 2 infantry. No. Not good. Send the tank like up here, disrupt stuff over here, try and distract your opponent from the middle. Oof. This is fine. I shouldn't say oof. It means that the recon, it'll give the artillery vision of the city no matter what happens over here. So that's good. There's the Neo tank. Infantry. Once the Neo tank sees... Man, if there isn't an anti-air that follows this Neo tank by, they can get really awkward. Oh my gosh, once Reimer sees this artillery fire and then the battlecopter, it's gonna be like, I can't even go in with my Neo tank. And the longer this early Neo tank stands around doing nothing, the worse it gets, because it gives Mr. Ko more time to just naturally tech up and be more capable of fighting Neo tanks. Oh my gosh, let's see. Alright, yep. Oh, it's fine. I was gonna say you want to use a vehicle and then infantry, but no, because Mr. Ko has so many more infantry around here than Reimer has. It's very easy to clear this even with just infantry. And then tank, I guess, tank and battlecopter, unless you want to send the battlecopter down here. It's not a huge value reveal. I guess you could go tank and then try and just get the luck roll to finish off or with an infantry to finish off that tank. It doesn't feel great to reveal your copter by doing 2 damage to a tank. But, okay, that's what Mr. Ko does. That's okay. Moving down, like, he's very ready. He's super ready for a brawl in the middle. Look at that. And also kind of ready to start trying to take this peninsula city. But even with this big of an advantage, it's not that easy to take. Like, all these infantry, this infantry is going to be in position to take it. These are to contest it. It just doesn't work out. Oof. Tank, double tank, infantry. Okay. Really ready for a fight in the middle here. Oh, and the recon did go up here. So, well, that's just where the recon has to go, pretty much. So, I guess next turn we'll find out what the recon's plan is. Finish that capture, didn't get contested. Sees that this one is being worked on while you've been done for a while. So that usually feels good. Spots this. Does he get into that for you? Yep. He's getting in position to try and take it. Oh. He moved there to get vision of this city. Don't put your infantry on this city. That's just donating an infantry. And Reimer's already having problems with enough infantry on the front lines, although his delayed wave is incoming. You're glad that he is like, okay, I lost a tank, but don't have the sunk cost fallacy. It's fine. You lose a tank, you lose a few infantry, you lose a property. That's not the end of the world. It's only the end of the world if you continue to engage on that and just keep losing more and more and more. It's fine to have early game losses if you can then get a larger advantage in engagements and harassing on the edges. Oh, there's the anti-air. So this copter's kind of sad. What just happened then? Oh, he built an infantry there. Okay. Mr. Ko. All right, gets vision and sits in the forest. Oh, hit that guy. The one on the mountain. Well, I don't think he's gonna finish that capture. I think you have to even sending this infantry over and hitting this guy doesn't. This like the recon can reach. Yeah, this is just going to be a dead recon. I guess Mr. Ko just didn't realize how vulnerable this spot is to put units when you don't have enough infantry backup. I don't understand this. What? Mr. Ko found out that there's an artillery staring at this city. But why you go back? You're just gonna get shot again. Unless Mr. Ko is trying to have the artillery stay in that forest and is gonna like set himself up to. That's not setting it up to bust the artillery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't even reach. Yeah, I don't know why Mr. Ko would want to go here. It's a like. What? I'm confused. But I think it's fine. He's got a large advantage in the middle already, so another artillery shot on the capping infantry doesn't do anything. Really, just weakens in infantry. That's fine. Can still serve as a blocker. I'm not a huge fan of this this tank formation. I'm not exactly sure why they're lined up like that. I guess it's because he's worried about this area being broken and then like a tank sitting on this city and hitting it with his tanks. So he's like, I'll make sure the tanks are in range to fight stuff, but they're not next to a property. And then the bad thing is that they just have so many sides vulnerable. But there are a lot of infantry around. It's probably fine. And the artillery here covers these points. So it's, whoa. Mr. Ko went back by just 2 tiles. Okay, so that's to cover this city. The problem with that, is that while you can move here, anything that's going to be attacking and killing this infantry, such as the infantry on the mountain that you see right now, would actually be out of vision once this infantry dies. So this copter is only like fake protecting it. In fact, Mr. Ko... Oh, okay, Mr. Ko passed the turn. But Mr. Ko should have moved the infantry out of there, because it's just going to die. Oh, that's the first thing that Reimer does. Very smart, attacks from the mountain first. Get the pure lash value, as you would expect from a lash specialist. Yep, another hit there. Reveals that infantry. Oh, I didn't notice. Mr. Ko is actually capping this city. So... that's something that Reimer can very easily contest, but it also means that Reimer cannot use these infantry to both interrupt this city and interrupt this capture. Because he can like put this infantry here, and then use this infantry to hit this guy, and then send this infantry over here and interrupt this capture. But then nothing's in range to actually stop this other than this tank, which you really don't want to do. So this is definitely the priority. I think you just have to accept that you lose this property. But this is a city you've already taken. It's definitely the priority. I think you just send 1 down to interrupt it, and then they have to get off of it. They want to kill your infantry. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and then, okay, well this isn't as good, because now they get to kill a full health infantry from the city. But it's fine. You do set this guy down to 1. I guess there was a chance you could clear it because of the comm tower. There you go. There's the nice little trap in. This guy's a donated infantry. It's very weird because Reimer just saw what happened to Mr. Ko's infantry that went on that city. The same thing is going to happen to yours. I'm not sure what's up with. Oh, look at that! Look at that tricky move. Moves out of vision of this infantry, and then comes back around. So now Mr. Code doesn't know if there's something here. Might even think there isn't something here, and then when trying to like bust in on this artillery, gets trapped on this infantry. That's pretty clever. Oh, okay. Well, there is one bad part about this though. That infantry is in range of this artillery, so like if that wasn't the case, this would be an amazing move. Since that is the case, that's actually a bad move. Very sad. Getting off the property. That's something you gotta do. You never know. Sometimes Kindle players can really get charge going, and there's a lot of brawl potential going on here. It would really suck to have an Urban Blight hit the Neo tank. Tank, copter, infantry. That's good. That's a good buy. Building the tank down here. That must be because he's feeling threatened. Oh, you know what it is? I think it's for better map presence. Sees the tank here. Sees that this city's being captured. Have a tank over here so that infantry, because he might be recognizing that the middle fight is pretty much doomed. So Mr. Ko might take these forces and like send a few over here to try and capture these cities, and then Reimer is going to be ready to stop it. That's good. That's good. If that's the case. All right, Mr. Ko. You cannot save your recon. That's just... So I guess you just take as much value as you can out of it. Get one hit over here. You can kill the infantry on the city. Very easy to stop this capture. Probably don't dive for it or anything. It's probably going to be like this infantry plus, I don't know, this infantry here, and maybe this one here, and then this artillery fires on this guy or something. Let's see. Nope. Here's the full infantry kill. Get the capture. Infantry walking over here to try and contest, to try and rescue his city. He gets that kill and moves over here for some vision, and I guess to try and set up. He might not realize that like this is a huge danger zone. Yep. This is very. This is like identical to what happened over here. Yeah, he moved up there, finishes it off, just reveals this infantry, which is very sad for Reimer. Mr. Ko, whatever you do not put another infantry on that city. I will not forgive you. All right, the tanks are coming in position. Look at all these tanks. Ooh, and a Neo tank of his own. I must have missed. He didn't even save that much last turn. Wow. He saved just enough. He didn't even see the Neo tank. Wow, Mr. Ko. Matching Reimer for Neo tank tech up in the blind. That's pretty impressive. That's definitely history. Why the backwards one though? Why would you build the Neo tank? Is it just because he really wants the recon to be for? Oh, he wants the recon over here to contest. Okay. That makes sense. Bam. And then pass the turn. Whoa. Okay. Look how far back he moved. He's baiting Reimer in. He's like, look at this juicy attack on this infantry. You know I have an artillery here. And then all these tanks are in range to dive on anything that comes into the middle. So like Reimer would charge in and then get vision to kill a bunch of infantry. But then there aren't any juicy vehicles to hit, and then all those vehicles get those first strikes. That's a nice setup. Very nice setup. Let's see if Reimer falls for it. Gone. That's the danger of doing that. That kills the infantry in one shot. Kills that infantry in one shot. And reveals the artillery with the 1 health. Okay. Oh, the Neo tank is coming. It's next to a city. Can the copter reach? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The copter can reach. That's gonna be some juicy damage. Oh no. Oh, Reimers. Reimer's walking into the trap. What? What's going on over here? Oh, that's just a step out of vision of the tank, I guess. And to shield this tank. Okay. Well, you know, I like that Reimer's got some presence on the sides. Like the middle. Like these tanks being in the middle against all of these would have just been dead tanks. So it's good. I like this. This is definitely a big improvement on the Reimer gameplay that I've seen in the past, where like all of these vehicles would be exactly in the middle and then they would all just get jumped on and die. So in this case, there's going to be really valuable tanks on the sides here that are going to stop Mr. Ko from taking Reimer's properties off of this engagement. Tree. Run away. Tank. Oh, saving up for a second Neo tank. Maybe a bomber. Probably a second Neo tank. He really likes him. All right, Mr. Ko. Now let's look at this. Oh, wow. And Urban Blight's ready. Okay, so with Urban Blight, you can just clear everything here. And then hit the Neo tank really hard with this copter. Let's see what he does here. Goes back. Okay, well these kind of moves after you hit Urban Blight, that means thinking moves. It's something I do a lot too. It's like, well, I don't know how I want to address this engagement right now, so I'll just move these like more free actions. But what really comes back to bite you is if those free actions would have been better in the engagement, but like later on after you've done some attacks. Okay. I think that was the only target for that recon. Attacking with the furthest away troops first is definitely the way to go. Otherwise, you'll lose targets. Okay. Oh, this would be a guaranteed kill. He's got the power for this 3. So if this 3 kills this, and then what do? You do like a 1 in here, sacrifice. This guy comes in to finish this off, and then this guy comes on the city to kill this 9. So this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. And then a tank comes up, hits this tank, which reveals this anti-air, and then 2 tanks kill that. And then you still have 3 tanks left after that, so you can kill this infantry and kill this tank. And then the copter comes around and gets a juicy swing on this Neo tank. That's a really brutal turn. All of these units would be gone, and then there'd be an injured Neo tank. Now let's see if that's what Mr. Ko does. Oh, there's the... Now that was one of those moves that you could do at any time. Oh, he used a full health to clear that. Oh, he must not have known the roll. That would have been the guaranteed. Just get that. That's fine though. He had so many tanks. He can afford this. I think it means that this infantry lives, or maybe this infantry lives or something. We'll see. Yeah, tank dies. Okay, so this infantry's gonna live. Or maybe that infantry would have lived anyway, just because of body blocking. Like this tank can't hit anything. Well, I'll take that back. That tank can hit the Neo tank to do 1 damage and then take 5. I don't know if that was worth it. He might be feeling a little too much of himself right there. This is a really strong engagement. Wow. Oh, that's to block the recon from hitting this guy or something. I don't know why he went up there. Probably better to stay in the forest to be the more complete pin on the Neo tank. I don't know. He just wants a wall. We got copter. Is it gonna be copter like tank basic? Tank. Infantry. Okay, save some money for next turn. He'll have enough money for another Neo tank if he wants. But yeah, once you're ahead, copter tank swarms. Very difficult to deal with in this area. Much easier to deal with if you had the transport copter opening. I'm just saying. Okay, Reimer. Okay, so the first thing you do when you see a turn like this, where you like moved into an area, and then you get the little notification that says it's your turn in this game, and you open it up and your entire army's gone. The first thing you do is you close that game. You go do something else for like 3 days. You come back with a fresh perspective. You look at it and you say, how can I win from this position? What is the edge that I need to go for? And judging by this attack, I think the edge that Reimer's seeing is this is going to be Operation Save the Neo Tank. And then I hope you keep your side properties, because the one thing that hasn't happened to Reimer from this huge engagement and all the losses of those units is that none of Reimer's properties have come under threat. Winning fights will not win the game if you don't capitalize off of them. So as long as Reimer keeps enough defenses on these edges, and maybe even like pressures them to try and divert units out of the middle, I think he'll be okay. A little you can see with some of these fights. I think it's trapping in the 2 health tank. Okay. Kind of trying to defend his HQ, and he might be worried about a push all the way up. Oh. Moving the artillery out of here, so he's no longer property locking this, but that's probably a good idea. Okay, his opponent did not see that move, because with all this stuff here, it could very easily dive to take out that artillery. Tank comes back. Infantry comes back. Hopefully, he's not going to... Oh, didn't go with a Neo tank. Interesting. I thought for sure. Went for... Oh, because he lost... Yeah, he lost the anti-air in that fight. And there's at least one copter. Maybe even a bomber after Mr. Ko saw your Neo tank. So yeah, you definitely need the anti-air. Falls back over here. That's because he saw the recon from the mountain. Smart. Alright, Mr. Ko. So Mr. Ko had a really great new engagement. Is really far ahead. The question now is, what do you do with that advantage? This is something that a lot of people struggle with, where like they're able to fight and they're able to win engagements, but then they just like sit back on their laurels and slowly build up another army while their opponent builds up another army, and then they smash together again. That's not going to win the game. That's just going to let you fight and fight and fight and fight until you lose a battle. And then if your opponent knows how to win a game off of a successful engagement like that, then you'll just lose the game after winning so many fights. So right now Mr. Ko has like 3 options, I think. 4 maybe. You can either front switch up and try and take like this city. It's kind of weak. Or you can front switch down, which is a lot stronger, and try and go after these 4 cities. Or you can try and continue the pressure, try and go for like an HQ cap. I think that's a really bad idea. It's very easy to have a successful engagement here and then overextend and lose. Don't do that. He can also just try and kill off as much stuff as possible on the fringes here. Maybe try and kill off the Neo tank. I don't think that's a great idea. Maybe kill these guys. And then split the forces to put pressure on this city and a lot of pressure on these cities. It's kind of weird to do, but it's like once you've won the fight in the middle, you need to leave the middle. The whole point of fighting the middle was just to like fight the units, and then you have to capture properties to get the actual advantage in the game. So we'll see what Mr. Ko does here. Okay, he's retreating, healing up. That could mean that he's going to do a front switch. It could also mean that he's just trying to prepare for the next fight. I don't understand. I guess he might be worried about Reimer's super going off and him getting this city. Lots of retreating. Lots of falling back here. That very defensive. Maybe he thinks that Reimer's like gearing up to slam into him. That's not going to happen because Mr. Ko just won a huge fight. It's kind of on him. Oh my gosh, he ran so far back. So I think Mr. Ko knows how to fight, knows how to win engagements, and then doesn't know how to really leverage those victories, judging by how this is playing out. Because it looks like he's just resting on his laurels, trying to get repairs, falling back to his HQ. Like, he's not even trying to get this city. He didn't even try and like dive and kill this artillery. I don't know. All right, Reimer, you have your super. I would not recommend using it. Just gonna try and kill off the infantry around the Neo tank. Retreat further to get the heals. I don't know what that was for. I guess he just wants this copter to be a little weaker. I think it's better to have a 2 health copter to block this copter later on or try and bait stuff around. I don't know why you would. Because you're already full charge. Just really want to damage it a little bit. Really falling back far with this guy. Oh, he's just to contest the city. That's good, though. Yeah. Mr. Ko can pretty much ignore this. Or he could bust through. You can kill off all of these infantry pretty easily, I think. The wall's not even that strong with like 5 healths. You've got to know that Mr. Ko has to know that he's really far ahead because he's got this property. He knows that he knows he is 1 property up, and he knows how much damage he just dealt. I guess he's scared of the super. I guess that's fair. I mean, he's not that scared of the super. If he was scared of the super, he wouldn't be doing this. Unless he just does this. This is another thing you can do is do like little engagements and try and beat out the super. Yeah, he's trying to like distract to get this capture. Okay. Okay. Let's see how it goes. Moving way up here. Cover this for covering this copter for another like a copter strike against it. The copter wars going on. A line of infantry, lots of really weak infantry over here. Nothing's really protecting these squares. This is more of just trying to bait Reimer in, and then having another winning engagement. Lots of fighting. All right. Well, now Reimer's placement of this 4 health infantry is looking genius. It was just out of range of getting killed off by any vehicles, and it's in range to interrupt this capture. Prime tactics. The super's on board. Let's see how much damage this does. There isn't anything super juicy that I'm seeing other than what was probably expected to die. Yep. Going in, killing a tank, killing another tank, killing an infantry. Well, Mr. Ko did a really good job of baiting out this super. Like, that was definitely an acceptable loss of units for a Lash super. Tries to get the capture here. Another problem with Lash supers against Kindle specifically is because Urban Blight can interrupt captures that would normally be really difficult to interrupt because of the double defense stars. Well, this looks like it fell right into the palm of Mr. Ko for another very strong engagement. Reimer, yeah, okay, Reimer saved a lot of money again. Probably because he's expecting the Urban Blight. Continuing this capture. Getting vision. Urban Blight, okay. Is Mr. Ko planning to dive on in here? Or is he thinking I'll just clear out everything over here again? Because Prime Tactics does give you a lot of defense. So like that 8 health Neo tank in the forest is probably pretty safe. Oh, he's going in. You get attacked from the city there. Oh, look at that vision. Oh, it's so unfortunate. The artillery sees the Neo tank. These tanks don't see the artillery. The Neo tank, of course, doesn't see the artillery. Medium tank comes out. Medium tank next to the city. That's a little gutsy. You know Reimer has a Neo tank and gets the bonus from attacking from those defense stars. Interesting. That's because of the anti-air. Scared of that. Probably would still go for this copter hit though. Okay. So that wasn't too bad of a counter swing. I thought it'd be a little bit heavier. Although Reimer is still really far behind in unit value, but only a tiny bit behind in only the one property behind in economy. So it's very doable, especially because this Neo tank's basically been donated. Wow, that I think that was a high roll. Let's see here. Yep. And these fights are going pretty well. I don't think... Yeah, Reimer doesn't know about this medium tank. Probably feeling really, really good. And then the medium tank's going to show up and make him feel really sad. Oh, did he not... Oh, he didn't send anything up here. Alright, he is defending this side, though. That's good. But looks like Mr. Ko is indeed going to get to this property. A transport cop. Okay. I'm not sure what that's for. He's already got a lot of stuff in the middle here. Maybe he's going to get some mechs. Because the mechs do get to step on these river tiles. And that unlocks a lot of wall breaking potential. All right, Mr. Ko's very happy to get that property. Now he's went from 1k up to 3k up. That's a big deal. And like I said, that's the easiest one to flip. There's lots of infantry movements. That had to be a high roll. Killing off this tank. Killing off that infantry. There we go. Preparing for another fight in the middle. This seems to be what Mr. Ko really wants to do with the army. It's just fight, fight, fight in the middle. Getting this city was really good, though. That's starting to leverage the victories for the engagements. If he can just spare some stuff to contest over here, like these are right for the picking. The city's got a recon city on it already. Oof. Like, look at this, Mr. Ko. You can take this easily. You just have to send more than single infantry into it. All right, Reimer's. Look at this. Look at this. Reimer's not taking the bait. He's like, wait a second. I can just take these from you. If your entire army, it doesn't matter if you have a larger army than me, if it's not in a position that defends what I want to take, and I want to take my city back. Now, there is the danger that this army could march on this HQ. But there isn't a single healthy penguin on the front lines for it. So he's going to have to like join them together in this tile. And then there's still just one healthy penguin. And the Neotanks here. He's probably going to build like a rocket or battlecopter. I think this is a really hard HQ to take. Like a rocket right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even you can even do it from this forest. Yeah. Don't go for the HQ. I think an HQ dive at this point, while it looks really tempting, is not actually feasible because a rocket covers it from way back here. Oh, Neotank getting in position. Anti-air. Oh, look at that. Reimer's expecting an HQ dive. Copter goes up. It's like, if you want to fight my army, you gotta fight it over here, in reinforcement range of 2 bases. Ooh, a boost. Saving a lot of money. That must be for a bomber, right? Didn't go for a rocket. That's interesting. I would have thought... Well, I guess you do have all these Neotanks. Mr. Co's retreating. With these guys, that's good. Just hold the city that you took. Starting to march towards this one. Alright, isn't taking the bait, isn't overextending. That's very good. Just like, I'll take this city. I'll just get further ahead. That's what you want to do. HQ, it's not good. It's the easiest way to throw a one game. Go for the HQ. If you take cities, you'll get further and further ahead, and then I think it's like a 40-day limit. If you need to, you can stall it out. If you're 10k up, if you're 10k up, you can push for the HQ. But the point I'm saying is, if you go for cities rather than rushing an HQ, you're getting stronger while also pursuing a win condition, which is really good. I don't know about moving this recon away from over here. It was doing a great job just sitting on the city and baiting stuff into it. Oh, another recon's come up here. Hopefully it doesn't suffer the same fate as the other one. Alright, he's setting up a very defensive new cocoon in the middle here. Oh, Reimer's going back for his stuff. Very good. I am very happy to see that Reimer has started to develop more of the side play and not just like a center death ball. Okay. As I said that, he's starting to develop a center death ball. I don't know if you really want a death ball against the person that's been beating you in these engagements so far. That seems risky to me. I thought the HQ was a bait, but now he's defending the HQ, so maybe it wasn't a bait. Maybe it was just an open HQ, and then when Mr. Co fell back, Reimer feels more confident to step up into it. Mr. Co is still very far ahead in unit value. He started his turn ahead in unit value, which is when you know you're super winning. And he's 3k up, starting that cap. He's very far ahead in unit count as well. Not enough stuff over here to quite take that back for Reimer. Medium tank's moving up. Starts poking at the infantry. I don't know about this. Okay. He's baiting people. He's baiting units in to stop this cap, and then the medium tank can punish, even if it's a Neotank to hit it. Not that Reimer would ever use a Neotank to interrupt the cap while leaving the Neotank next to a city and be on the shoals. Reimer's quite good. Would not do that. All right, we got another big like defensive death ball of units over here. I mean, if a little bit more of them just moved down to the left with some infantry, he wouldn't just be 3k up. He'd very quickly be like, what, 9k up? Let's do 11k up, something like that. That would be really good. Make the person who's behind have to try and chase down your army. Oh my gosh, the Neotank on the city against Kindle? That seems really risky to me. It's not that hard for Mr. Ko to find an urban blight. I mean, I don't know if a medium tank and a copter or something is quite enough to make it safe. I don't know, it seems risky. Going for this capture. I like it. I mean, I don't think the capture is going to go through, but I like the idea of it. Like, the army's moving into the area. I can now start a capture to add on to the pressure. All right. I think Reimer's expecting an urban blight. Reimer's also behind 3k, so even though this is like a risky capture, it's still very good to go for because you get kind of desperate to get the economy. Mr. Ko has not decided whether or not he wants to engage. That's why he's moving everything in the back first. Anti-air first. That's the buy. Interesting. Interrupts with tank. Okay, Mr. Ko does not want to engage. He has decided. Just take the helicopter kill. Put more pressure around this city. Just kind of back up a bit, I guess. You gotta be really wary of being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of putting stuff in striking range. I guess that's why he has the medium tanks back here. He's like, the Neotank can't hit me here. It's okay if the Neotank beats up this stuff. If I have my medium tanks back here and my artillery back here. Mr. Ko is so far ahead in unit value. Reimer is going for the forbidden technique. That's the Lash normal power. It's so expensive. It lets Lash ignore the terrain movement restrictions, additions. Everything just costs 1 to move over now. And I guess you do also get the base 10 attack and 10 defense. Oh my gosh. What? Okay. Neotanks being left on the roads, one of them next to a property. Armor does have a really good concave here, but hitting the artillery is really good. But this is kind of what Mr. Ko was hoping for. I guess the medium tanks can't actually wrap around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, if Mr. Ko can kill off this Neotank, this infantry, this transport copter, this anti-air, and this infantry, which he might be able to, then this medium tank can wrap all the way around and one-shot this guy. This is definitely a bold play by Reimer. I'd really like it if Reimer had stuff in position on the sides to be leveraging this attack even more. Going for this capture, though, is really good. You gotta get it somewhere. Another light buy. Was 200 short of getting a battlecopter, but probably expecting the urban blight. All right, Mr. Ko. Let's see how you handle this. You've been doing really well on the engagements so far. So I think it's your strong suit. Oh, he's going to go for a Kindle Super. Now, Kindle Supers have a track record of being very hit or miss. But I imagine... Oh, there it is. I imagine he can get a lot done with this here. I don't know if he can kill both Neotanks. But I would not be surprised. Oh, is he going to go? Is he going to be able to get that full wraparound? He might. No, okay. Well, he doesn't need to, right? He can have something else clear the city and attack from it. Oh, he didn't. Oh, okay, that works too. That works. That works too. I like it. Yep. I don't know. Both Neotanks left on the road like that. It was a very gutsy play. That's going to be a huge psychological hit to Reimer. But I mean, there's still a lot of targets here to counter with, to hit with the artillery and with all of these tanks. I guess they do hit back pretty hard because of the high society. But this is probably another turn where you step away from the game for like 3 to 4 days, come back to it, and then decide what is your edge. What can you eke out of this to get back into it? Went for a strong engagement with the normal power. In the middle, got shut down again. But you're also not losing any more economy off of this. I would like to see some more leveraging on the sides since you see so much in the middle. And look at that. That's some pretty good compensation for the fight. The triple battlecopter is going to be a problem, though. All right. Starting to move towards the city. Nice blocker. Now this, he does have good targets too, but it's the thought that counts. So it looks like after that fight, they're pretty much exactly where they were before Reimer's engagement. Maybe Reimer's closed the gap a tiny bit. But we'll see just how much damage Mr. Ko can get on this turn. It's looking pretty good. Fights in the middle have been Mr. Ko's thing. Oh my gosh, look at him go. And yeah, he's definitely not disappointing here. He's also gotten really good use of these artillery replacements. He's killed off so much. Right into the forest. Get the heal off. But again, now still nothing's really being sent down. It's just that single infantry again. It's just going to be a similar, like, the infantry shows up, Reimer stops it with an infantry of his own. Reimer kills off that tank. They kill off the battlecopter. And yeah, definitely run away. It's honestly not that bad. And look at that. The copter's even in range to save the city. That's really good to see. And moving towards his HQ. I kind of feel like you just don't try and put stuff around your HQ. Just like leverage other areas to get this army to either move away or get some of your economy back. Because it's so easy to defend this HQ with the rocket. Like, let him go for it. Okay, well, Mr. Ko's doing the same thing again, where he kind of falls back, heals up, goes for this city to try and get some more value out of the just like sacrifice another infantry Reimer. I want my incremental advantages there. This is unsupported infantry. I don't know. It's just like the third one. Goes down. Finishes it off. All right. So from what I'm seeing from Mr. Ko, is that he's really good at fighting. He's really good at engagements. And then he doesn't quite know what to do after he wins an engagement to then win the game. He's like, I'll just step back. You can slam into me, and then I'll win the fight. And then I'll step back, and then you can slam into me, and then I'll win the fight. He's going to get frustrated soon. And then he's going to go for that HQ. And then I'm sure a rocket will sit in this forest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And all of his hopes and dreams will go up in smokes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You're not doing anything around this HQ. This is good. Move over here. Get some economy back. Bring in some infantry. Recon. Not quite sure what the recon's for, but that's okay. Okay. Is this to go get some money? Okay, Mr. Ko, you finally got that property. You're up 4K. And okay. Yeah. I think this is going back to the go-to of I will stand in the middle with a big old army. Not even like the edges of the middle. No. I'm standing at my HQ. Because Reimer's close to a super, is that why? You shall hit me. And I mean, this is a good trick to do every once in a while. Oh my gosh. Reimer's gonna get the city. Well, I guess it depends on how. If he moves anything onto this tile, he'll get the city. That is a little gutsy to do, though. I got a medium tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Isn't doing it. Chopper's probably not gonna do it. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But I'm gonna see what happens. What happens? What does Mr. Ko do if nothing slams into him? Moving infantry up here. He's going for the Peninsula City, the hardest city on the map to take. Repair up your the death ball. Hit that guy. That's good. You gotta send more stuff up there though. Oh, this is good. This is good. Need more infantry with it to really leverage, but sending a little task force over here is really good. You gotta realize though that all of these units are not doing anything. Units really need to be active in getting you advantages if you want to win the game. And just standing by your HQ does not give you an advantage. I like this. This is good. Reimer spotted that Mr. Ko was out of position. Mr. Ko's in the middle. Mr. Ko's getting a front switch down over here. So even though Reimer is like really far behind in army value, it doesn't matter because it's where the army is that matters more. Look at all these juicy properties. If Reimer flips all these, he'll be ahead in income instead of behind. And sometimes you feel like you need to resign when you're 4K down in income, but like 19k can still fight very effectively against 23k if you are leveraging counter units. Because counter units are always cheaper than the units that they counter. It just means that you have a much like sharper game ahead of you. Because you have to rely on like artillery and anti-air instead of like tanks and copters. A fighter instead of a bomber. I mean, you'll probably still get a bomber because you're worried about like medium tanks and stuff. Like, oh, there's the rocket. I would have bought the rocket here, I think. Maybe well, it could be in this forest. This forest is just a lot easier for Mr. Ko to dive. So does Mr. Ko recognize how big of a threat this is and kind of send note? Maybe. Mr. Ko's going for the HQ. Alright. Would not recommend. Maybe only... Okay, and going for this property. That's good. Not... As long as it's not just all in, like, ignore everything, go for the HQ, then that's a lot better. I don't like... I feel like the army could definitely have shifted up here and defended these properties. And looks like it's slow death ball march onto the HQ to try and force a fight. I think. Get the vision. Kill off an infantry. Woo, starting to get the economy back. Always feels good. When you see just infantry standing around in this kind of scenario, you feel really, really good. It's like, I lost 100,000 in value of troops trying to stop a single city from being taken. And then I spend like 30,000 in troops. Don't even lose the troops. Get 4 cities. That's the importance of the where more than the quantity. Alright, well, this rocket has locked the HQ. Even locked the city. Even go for a second rocket, I guess. Although I think going for a bomber would probably be better. There's only one anti-air. Or just a bunch of copters. Alrighty. This is very risky. Could also just be a fake out. Could even try and go for the comm tower. That's usually like impossible. Standing on the comm tower. Building a transport copter, sending it way over here. It is recognizing that there's not that many infantry over here. Oh. Ooh. No, no, no. Okay, so if you do something like this, and you don't know if they have an indirect lock, the first one you send, you can just send alone. See how they stop it. Because HQs... Because usually the terrain around HQs, not very good. Like, notice these are all, like, plains. So all of your stuff is really vulnerable on it. And your opponent is almost always going to have an advantage around their HQ. In this case, it's a huge advantage. It's reinforcement. It's the 1 turn range of 2 bases and an airport. So this must have been the case of like Mr. Ko knows he's been winning all these fights, and it's like, how am I supposed to win off of these fights? I'll just go take the HQ. I'll have the larger army. And in this case, Mr. Ko definitely does have the larger army, but you got to remember, first strike, the like As long as you're 2/3 the size of the opponent, your first strike will make you win the engagement kind of thing. Now, I don't know if Reimer's really quite that size, but this is also a huge overextension. So with all the base production, he's definitely comparable to it. And then Neo Tank. And base skip doesn't really matter when you're this late. I don't know what's up with this transport copter though. What's it going to transport? Is it going to come back? I don't know. Okay, he's revealed. Oh. Reimer has officially. Oh no, it's because Mr. Ko got the hardest to capture property. Look at that. That's very impressive. And Reimer's coming in. Gonna pop the super probably. There it is. This is gonna do a lot of damage. That's silly. Yep. I guess that's just for Chip to make sure something is cleared or something? I don't know what that was for. Bam. Bam. Let's see if that... Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh no. See, this is why you don't try and go for HQ pushes. Look at all that. That's awful. And then the super's up. So everything's super defensive. You're fighting in rocket range. And and all of these properties are being taken on the sides. Oh my gosh, it's day 27 Urban Blight. That's pretty good. That's a lot of value on Urban Blight. He's getting in position to contest this. That's good. Infantry are just jockeying around over here. Stops that capture, that's good. Tries to do some damage here. Oh my god, Prime Tactics. So strong. Oh, you must think that the rocket is over here, I guess? Don't keep fighting into this. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, Mr. Ko is so far ahead. Okay, the transport copter came back. It realized it forgot to bring in infantry. Ooh. Well, Reimer is going to be really happy to see that everything stayed in the, oh my gosh. I think this was... Wow, look at all that. I think this is just a case of not knowing how to capitalize off of the victories, the winning engagements. Not going for, the like either pressuring on the sides to take these properties that Reimer won't be able to keep up with. On a lot of maps, you can kind of just push straight for the HQ. You can see how different this is. Because Reimer's having this winning engagement in the middle while also pressuring on the sides. Mr. Ko can't... Now that Mr. Ko's the one that's behind, he can't keep up with it. Like, this one artillery is going to get so much work done. Right, he's falling back. Probably need to fall back farther than that. Although there isn't that much direct units that's really fighting him off over here with Reimer. Very good. More action on the sides is what you want to see. That was a good join. Get more fuel. And now the game's much more just like even-ish when it comes to unit value and economy. As long as Mr. Ko manages to fend off the sides here and doesn't get suckered into indirect range, I think he can come back, or get back in the lead, I should say. Like, he was far enough ahead that even though he took so much damage going for this HQ, that he's still okay. As long as he doesn't let his sides fall, and if he can pressure the sides some more. Oh my. Oh no, Reimer saw that coming. Anti-air in place. Mr. Ko's starting to head back. That's good. Okay, let's see. It's really going to come down to... He's just sitting. Oh, no. He's just sitting on the city to stop Reimer from capturing it. But that's in rocket range. 5 damage. I don't think Reimer will be able to clear it yet, so it's not the end of the world. If Reimer could kill off that medium tank, then that would be awful. Oh, Reimer's smelling blood in the water on the sides. It's like, oh, all you have to defend is a bunch of infantry? I can just go win that fight. I don't have to try and fight all these awful vehicles to try and win a single property, when there's all these really valuable ones over here. Now they're equal in economy. No, not another penguin sacrificed to try and take this lake city. Oh. He's bringing more, though, so he might actually get it this time. Alright. Gotta send some troops through that, though. Neo tank's coming down over here, too. Okay. Alright, I like this. He's picking up on the whole, like, there's a lot of value in taking these sides. He's falling back really far. Really far. Well, now... Oh, he doesn't have enough indirect, so he can't really fall back this far and expect to keep these cities. Yeah. Oh man, Reimer learning to play the sides. Oof. This is okay for Mr. Ko because he's brought some stuff this time. Over here is really bad for Mr. Ko. He's getting out positioned. Look at all these guys moving around. Alright. Oh, it's... Yeah. Since Mr. Ko only has direct units to contest this, I guess he has some infantry he can sacrifice. Now he's in the position where he's being baited into protecting cities, and then he'll lose the units that are sent to do that. Nice. Oof. It's a 4 dead infantry. Yeah, he's like, oh no, I need to have my artillery in range. Wow, this rocket is getting a lot of value. Okay, he might get this. Oh no. Oh no, he can move here with the anti-air. It's like he lost vision. Just trying to position around here to Go head to head with this army. Oh no, he left. What? Oh no. Well, now he's not gonna get this. I guess he wouldn't. This copter is still sneaking. My gosh. He tried so hard. He just left a little too early. You'd have had to block it though. That'd be tough. Alright. Armor's going for this capture. Interrupt that capture. Much better on the map awareness and presence from Reimer. He's definitely improved. The opening was really sketchy. Mr. Ko's opening was really, really good, really solid. It was very standard, but it was like very solid standard. But once this, I guess the adapting to the changing game state. Did he lose his transport copter? I guess I missed that. I hope Mr. Ko's not going to get antsy. Oh, I like this. This is a great play. Going for this hard to defend Moat City sneaky transport copter. I don't like this though. Oh, he got antsy. Alright, this is probably going to be the end of the game. It's really hard to maintain those those game states. Like, I've got an army, they've got an army, I really want to fight. I don't want to like fight on the sides, I want to fight the main army in the middle here. But then when you go in with just a half-hearted attack, there's no infantry to protect your stuff. You've got injured units on the cities, and yeah, this is gonna be all dead. I imagine it's probably gonna be resigned next turn. Yeah, here comes the finish off the side there. He's gonna go for his Peninsula City next. And does that kill? Yeah, tanks are good. Neo tanks are good. Oh my gosh. Oh, and Reimer even gets his super here. Wow, he was so far behind earlier on because of the fights in the middle that Mr. Ko was so prepared for. But that's why you don't just give up. If you can, spot what you need to get back into the game and then execute it really well, then you can change those losing positions into winning positions. Reimer was at 4k down in income, half the unit value. Did not give up. And that's something that's also a lot easier to do in Fog than in Standard, where you can have more of this side play happen that your opponent won't necessarily see coming, kind of thing. Does Mr. Ko resign here? He does have a super. No, he just resigns. Whew. I was really impressed with Mr. Ko's play at the start, and then I think it kind of felt like Mr. Ko was expecting, I'll win these fights and then my opponent will just resign. So I think that might be what was going on there, is that there hasn't been enough experience trying to force games to force a win, kind of a thing, where there are definitely a lot of games that you'll play where you'll just win the big fight and then the opponent will just resign because they don't want to go through the rigmarole of trying to claw their way back to even, because that's really hard to do. So I think that's just what happened. I think Mr. Ko just doesn't quite have enough experience closing games out. Well, this is to be expected after that that last turn where Mr. Ko didn't hit back. There's the forbidden technique. 53 infantry build. 44. It's pretty interesting to see these stats. 2 Neotanks. 3 Neotanks. A very Neotank heavy match. Well, that was that was a round 2 match. Went to day 33. Very brutal battle. It would have been a really big upset, ELO wise, if Mr. Ko beat Reimer, and judging by their past matches, I think Mr. Ko really surprised Reimer here. I think if Mr. Ko can work on that mid to late game some more, he'll probably take the next match against Reimer if Reimer doesn't improve more. Although we did witness some big improvements in Reimer's play with the map presence and the map control, going for the sides instead of just sticking to the death ball strategy. But the huge weakness in the opener that Mr. Ko was way stronger in. I don't know. I think their next match is going to be very similar in how extreme it is. Opener versus adaptability in mid game is always very dynamic like that. Anyway, that was a replay commentary, a replay analysis of this tournament match. Good luck and have fun out there.